The broken wanderer. The air tasted of ash and metal, thick with the remnants of a world long dead. Blood clung to his cracked lips as he dragged himself across the desert plain, each step a battle against his own failing body. His left leg throbbed, torn and bruised from the crash that had left him stranded on this alien world. Above him, the twin suns burned mercilessly, painting the cracked ground in blinding gold. Every gust of wind carried abrasive dust that stung his eyes, forcing him to squint as he stumbled forward. He didn't know how far he had come. Time had blurred into a slow, torturous crawl since the shuttle's destruction. His mind replayed the explosion, the flames consuming metal and flesh, and the deafening silence that followed. And yet, despite his pain, a stubborn spark of survival pushed him onward. Through the heat haze, something shifted in the distance, a jagged silhouette against the horizon. At first, it looked like fractured rock formations, twisted and unnatural. But as he drew closer, the shapes resolved into the unmistakable outline of a city. Towers stretched skyward like fractured teeth, their surfaces corroded and pitted by centuries of neglect. Streets ran between the structures, littered with debris that clinked faintly under his careful steps. The silence was absolute, broken only by the occasional scrape of his own movements and the whispering wind. The man paused at the edge of the first plaza. He pressed his palm against the rough stone of a crumbling column, trying to steady himself. The architecture was unlike anything he had seen. Sleek lines mixed with angular geometry, a strange harmony of alien design. Murals adorned the walls, depicting creatures that walked on more legs than any human had, wielding devices of light and energy. He ran his fingers over the carvings, noting their elegance and precision. Whoever had built this place had possessed a genius that seemed almost supernatural. But genius could not save a civilization from collapse. Around him, signs of sudden abandonment were everywhere. Empty vessels littered what had once been a marketplace. Doors hung on twisted hinges, their contents abandoned in mid-use. Some buildings bore scorch marks, evidence of violence or catastrophe. Nothing stirred, not a sound, not a shadow, nothing alive. And yet, he felt it, a subtle vibration beneath his feet, faint, almost imperceptible, like the heartbeat of a city that refused to die. With great effort, he pushed himself into a narrow alley, limping over broken tiles and upturned beams. Dust filled his lungs, making each breath a rasping struggle. He stumbled over a half-collapsed doorway and fell forward, clutching his stomach where the crash had torn him open. Pain flared, sharp and punishing, but he forced himself to rise. Survival demanded it, even if his body screamed against it. As he wandered deeper, strange conduits of light flickered along the walls. At first, he thought it was a trick of his fevered mind, but the glow pulsed rhythmically, almost in time with his own heartbeat. The corridors twisted in impossible angles, leading him down a path that felt both random and intentional, as though the city itself was guiding him. Finally, he stumbled into a vast chamber, larger than any building he had encountered. Its ceiling soared impossibly high, lost in shadow, while the floor was smooth and metallic, untouched by dust or decay. At the center of the chamber lay a form that made his blood run cold and electric curiosity spike through his pain. A spaceship. Its surface shimmered faintly under the alien light, sleek and organic, as if grown rather than built. Panels and conduits traced patterns that pulsed softly, reacting subtly to his presence. He took a cautious step closer, and the air seemed to hum in response. A faint warmth brushed against his skin, not heat from the suns above, but something alive. For the first time since the crash, hope sparked in his chest. The city had been dead, silent, unforgiving. But in this chamber, he was not alone. Something was waiting, and it was aware of him. The silent city. The chamber's hum lingered in his ears as he stepped back, eyes wide at the spaceship. Every instinct screamed caution, yet every fiber of his being pulled him forward. He forced himself to ignore the pain in his leg and the dull ache across his chest. There was something about this vessel, something more than machinery, that made him feel seen, even understood. He circled the ship, noticing the intricate patterns etched along its hull. They shifted subtly as he moved, faintly glowing in response to his proximity. He reached out hesitantly, brushing a hand over a smooth panel, and a soft vibration ran through the metal beneath his fingertips. The sensation was alive, pulsing with rhythm, as though the ship's heart beat in time with his own. But he couldn't stay here forever. He needed supplies, shelter, and answers. He left the chamber, careful to remember every turn, and returned to the streets of the city. The sun's twin glare had begun to fade, casting long shadows across the deserted avenues. The buildings, though abandoned, hinted at a civilization of immense intelligence. Towering spires were adorned with alien script, each character glowing faintly as if powered by residual energy. The man wandered through a plaza, noting the remnants of a marketplace. Stalls were upended, merchandise scattered and broken. Jars of strange liquids and dried substances lay forgotten, their contents long since decayed. The silence was oppressive. He called out, his voice echoing between the structures, but no response came. Only the faint vibration beneath his feet replied, a subtle confirmation that the city was awake in some hidden way. In the distance, a collapsed temple drew his attention. Its doors were massive, engraved with symbols that seemed to shift and flow as he stared. Pushing the heavy doors open with a grunt of effort, he entered. Inside, he found signs of sudden evacuation, tables set for meals left unfinished, water vessels still half full, and walls scorched with blackened streaks. Whatever had forced this civilization to vanish had come swiftly, leaving everything behind. He explored further, his curiosity mingling with unease. The temple's inner sanctum revealed more of the alien technology he had glimpsed in the spaceship chamber. Glowing conduits lined the walls, pulsing gently, and strange orbs floated in the air, suspended by forces he could not comprehend. As he moved among them, the orbs shifted slightly, following his movements, their soft light bathing him in an otherworldly glow. Despite the city's eerie stillness, he began to sense patterns. The architecture, the placements of conduits and devices, even the layout of streets, all suggested intention. It was as if the city had been designed not just to house life, but to respond to it, to guide it, to protect it. He felt a strange kinship, as though the city itself was evaluating him, testing him, acknowledging his presence. Hours, or perhaps minutes, time had lost all meaning, passed as he explored deeper. He stumbled into an underground passage partially hidden beneath rubble. The corridor sloped downward, cool air rising from below. The faint hum of energy grew stronger with each step, reverberating through the metal walls. His legs screamed in protest, but something urged him onward, compelling him to follow the invisible thread of life beneath the ruins. At the passage's end, he entered a vast subterranean hangar. The spaceship from before lay at its center, now fully visible, massive and sleek, as if grown from the very planet itself. Panels shifted and lights pulsed faster, synchronized with the man's own heartbeat. He realized that every movement he made, every step he took, was mirrored by the ship in subtle ways. It was aware. It was reacting to him. A chill ran down his spine. He stepped closer, and the hangar's lights brightened, revealing rows of alien machinery that had lain dormant for centuries. The hum of power intensified, surrounding him with warmth and energy that healed some of the superficial cuts and bruises he had sustained. For the first time, he felt a sense of hope, an understanding that the city, and its hidden heart, had not abandoned him entirely. Somewhere deep within the alien architecture, a thought began to take shape. He was not just an intruder here. He was part of something larger, something waiting. And the ship, silent and patient, had been waiting for him. The awakening. The hum of the hangar grew louder, vibrating through the soles of his boots, rising to a tone that seemed almost musical. He stepped closer to the spaceship, its sleek surface shimmering as if sensing the approach of something alive. Each pulse of light along its hull matched the rhythm of his own heartbeat, and a strange warmth spread from his chest to his limbs, easing the ache that had been his constant companion since the crash. He extended a trembling hand toward the ship, half expecting it to remain inert, but the moment his fingers brushed the surface, A ripple of energy traveled up his arm. Panels shifted beneath his touch, lights brightening in patterns he couldn't comprehend. It was as if the vessel recognized him, acknowledging him as something more than a stranger. Then came a sound, soft, yet unmistakable. A voice, not mechanical, not harsh, but calm and strangely human, echoed within the hangar. "You are recognized," it said. The man staggered back, eyes wide. "Recognized for what? Who are you?" he croaked, his voice hoarse from days without water and sleep. "You are the inheritor," the voice replied, smooth and resonant. "The legacy awakens through you. Your presence is required." He shook his head, disbelief warring with the faint glimmer of hope blossoming in his chest. I don't understand. I'm just me. I'm human. I'm injured. I'm alone. Why me?" The ship's lights pulsed, forming patterns that seemed almost like words, though he could not read them. A gentle vibration ran through his body, healing bruises and mending torn skin at a pace faster than anything human medicine could achieve. The pain in his leg eased, the deep cuts across his chest knitting together. Fear and wonder battled within him, but the undeniable truth was clear. The ship was alive, and it was responding to him. Through the patterns and vibrations, images began to form in his mind. Cities of light, civilizations spanning worlds, ships that glimmered like stars. He saw glimpses of the alien empire that had built this vessel, an advanced species that had mastered energy, matter, and life itself. And then their downfall. Fleets burning, cities collapsing, a predator civilization that had consumed all in its path. The images came with a pulse of urgency, as if the ship was showing him what had been lost and what could be regained. "You are not merely human," the voice continued. "You carry what we could not leave behind. You are the key to survival, to continuation. Your species is our successor." The man stumbled back, gripping the edge of the hangar for support. "Why humans? Why me?" "You possess resilience," the ship said, almost gently. "You endure, adapt, survive. These traits are essential. The vessel is yours to command, if you are willing. It will teach you, guide you. But first, you must accept the bond." He hesitated. The pain of the crash, the solitude, and the realization that the galaxy he knew had nothing to do with the one he had stumbled into. It all pressed down on him. And yet, the warmth, the pulsing reassurance from the ship, the feeling of purpose, it was intoxicating. Slowly, he reached forward, placing both hands on the vessel's hull. The vibration intensified, coursing through him like electricity made of light and thought. Memories not his own brushed his mind. The ship's builders, their hopes, their fears, their deliberate creation of a vessel designed to recognize and respond to a human successor. The ship's voice softened. "Your bond is established. You are recognized. You may awaken our legacy." He closed his eyes, letting the energy flow, feeling it entwine with his own body. The hangar trembled as the ship's systems hummed to life, thrumming in harmony with him. Lights blazed across the chamber, panels sliding open to reveal energy conduits, control surfaces, and chambers filled with alien technology. The city above responded in kind. Lights flickered in distant towers, pathways illuminated, as though the entire abandoned metropolis had been waiting for this moment. For the first time since the crash, he felt whole. Not just human, not just survivor, but part of something far greater. The city had awakened. The ship had awakened. And he, broken and battered, was no longer alone. He was the inheritor. The inheritor. The hangar pulsed with energy, light racing along the hull of the spaceship in patterns that mirrored his thoughts. Each breath he took synchronized with the ship, every heartbeat a drum guiding its rhythm. The initial shock of their bond had worn off, replaced by a deep, visceral understanding. He was no longer just a man, but the vessel's living interface, and through it, he could command a power that dwarfed anything humanity had ever known. He stepped fully onto the ship's central platform. The surface rippled beneath his feet, adjusting to his weight as if acknowledging his presence. Panels rose, revealing controls that defied conventional logic. Symbols shifted into forms he instinctively understood, a language of thought and action, bypassing the need for spoken commands. His hand moved over one panel, and the ship responded, drawing power from the city itself, illuminating streets and towers that had been dark for centuries. Visions came to him, memories of the aliens who built this vessel. He saw their sprawling cities, glittering with energy fields, and their fleets of ships that danced between stars. He saw the sudden predator attack that had annihilated their civilization, the desperation that led them to construct arcs like this one, vessels capable of sensing and responding to the future. And he saw why humans were chosen. Resilience, adaptability, a spark that could survive when everything else fell. The first test came instinctively. He imagined lifting the ship, feeling the thrumming power surge beneath him. The hangar shuddered, panels sliding aside to create pathways for propulsion. Energy flares ignited along the ship's hull, not with fire, but with controlled light and force. Slowly, deliberately, the vessel rose, carrying him off the hangar floor. Dust swirled in golden clouds as it lifted higher, the city below awakening with flickers of illumination along its once-dead streets. He took a deep breath, realizing the extent of what he held. Not just a ship, but a key to a legacy that had lain dormant for centuries. The city's silent towers now pulsed with life, responding to the bond he shared with the vessel. Every building, every street, every conduit of energy recognized him, acknowledging his authority. Exploration revealed more of the ship's secrets. Chambers opened, revealing technologies that manipulated matter and energy, engines that harnessed power from stars, and storage bays filled with resources unimaginable to human science. The ship communicated not just with him, but through him. It was teaching him, guiding him, revealing the tools he would need to navigate the galaxy. Images of the fallen alien civilization flashed in his mind, showing their triumphs and failures. He saw their mistakes, arrogance, overconfidence, underestimating predators that knew only destruction, and understood that he had been chosen not just to inherit power, but to learn from history. Humanity had a chance to survive where they had failed. The first true flight outside the city was surreal. The vessel broke through the upper layers of atmosphere, the alien planet shrinking below him. The twin suns reflected off the ship's hull in brilliant streaks of light. He directed the ship with thought alone, feeling the intricate dance of systems respond instantly, perfectly. The wind of space, or what passed for it in the upper atmosphere, brushed against his senses, carrying the thrill of flight and the weight of responsibility. A sense of purpose filled him. He was no longer just a survivor of a crash, a wounded man wandering a dead city. He was a bridge between species, a link in a chain that spanned civilizations. The power of the ship, the intelligence of the alien creators, and the legacy of the city now converged through him. Humanity, small and fragile as it was, had inherited a future among the stars. As he gazed back at the awakening city, lights shimmering like fireflies in the dusk, he realized the magnitude of what had begun. He would carry the knowledge, the technology, and the responsibility of an entire civilization. The galaxy, vast and uncharted, waited for him, but he no longer felt fear. He had the strength, the guidance, and the bond of a vessel built for the ages. He smiled faintly, wincing at the last aches of his injuries.